We are walking her up to somebody that she really doesn't know. She may have met him once or twice, but she really doesn't know him well. Had her sit, stepped over, gave him the little treat to give her. She waits till I come back next to her. I'm going to tap her chest and say, go say hi. Go ahead and offer that to her. I'm going to say, come. And maybe because of her general fearfulness of strangers, although it's better than it was, of course, because we practice this every day. You should not have them pet her, but just for an insecure dog like this to just approach somebody, accept a gift, and then be called back, that's a step in the right direction. So at first, maybe just do that, and then later on, and we'll do it the last time we send her over, allow them to pet her. Go, and we'll show you how to do it though. Come. She wants to be petted, you can tell. Good, she's not afraid. Sit. Probably one of the main reasons is that we do that greeting routine here in this spot, and we've done it with so many different people, and it always goes just like this and goes well in her mind, that she's okay with meeting people that she doesn't know here in this spot, because dogs associate behavior with a location. So that's why we picked a location at your house, and it's in front of your house, to introduce her to new people. And if you guys practice with people she's comfortable with and with each other, then she'll start to associate anybody she meets there with being a friend, and it'll be much easier for her to get over her shyness with people. Go say hi, and you can pet her now. So she allows him to pet her. Come. Good. And so this is a great exercise as well. Sit, to practice your recall, your sit stay, your go command. Sending her places is a really important thing. If she collapses, if I wasn't talking to you, I would have said no, and I just would have gently pulled her up like that, put her back into a sit. She's still a puppy, so she is, she's very scattered sometimes, and you just have to be patient and keep doing these things. Do it exactly the way you see it on the video, because if you like what you see here, then you just keep doing this and she'll get better and better. And anytime you can do the greeting routine with somebody that comes to your house, the more the better. Sit. We always have her sit in front of the mat. Your right hand at her chest and say, go, and then walk her over and say, down. She'll go down anyway, because she's very used to this, of course, this exercise. And see how, when she's really excited, how fidgety she is. Good. Good girl. And you'll see how she does settle down in a minute or so, but you have to be really calm. Remember, her issue is just this jumpiness that she's always had, the inability to handle anything stressful, really scared of stuff, of course. And so we've worked really hard on practicing our down stays and sit stays to teach her to have a greater level of confidence in general and focus, which is how we would combat this issue. You can't correct her out of not being able to focus. So we have to just keep practicing. Good. And over time she gets better and better. So you see how I'm rewarding her? It's these little things are the most important things. Good. See how I paused for a couple seconds down there? She waited till I withdrew. She took it off the mat. I said good. And right now I'm just practicing a basic downstay where I walk around both ways. See how she'll gradually kind of slide off the mat. So what I've been doing when that happens, I think this is the best way for her, is to go back next to her. Okay. Allow her off the mat. Step into her like this. Do a couple of left turns to take her back there. Reset her where you want her to be. Down. And just keep doing that. And I found that, you see, she's outgrowing this mat, but I found that every time that we do this, she gets a little bit better. So what I'm going to do here, because I actually folded up a big mat, okay, I'm going to make it as big as it is normally because she's ready for the big size mat. Okay. And see if she can stay on this. Okay, down. So we will practice on the large size mat now since she needs that. Good. And you can do things like you saw that I was practicing a regular down stay and walking just around her both ways and rewarding when she was able to handle that. You can also pull on the leash. She knows not to get up. Good, reward her for that. You can, as long as you're in the house or you're in a fenced yard, you can practice walking away, opening gates, whatever you want to do, coming back. Good, I'm going to go behind her just to give you an example of what you can do. Every time that you get her used to you doing something else, just helps her in general be a little bit more focused. So you really want to work up to doing a lot of different things. Like maybe, good, you just, at first you practice going in each direction. Maybe I'm going to go over here and go through this gate. Let's see if she can handle that. Down. If you're going to try something difficult, it's okay to remind her what to keep doing before you do that. So I'm going to go through this gate and show her now. And close it behind me, come back. So we practiced a lot of different things that could trigger a dog to pop up. And you see, good, it's been 3 or 4 minutes since we started. You see how she'll start out really excited and then she'll click in to focus, even though she's panting heavily because she gets very easily overstimulated. This is the way. You just practice with her every day. Always try to throw something new at her. Once she doesn't make a mistake with whatever you're trying to challenge her with, and once she's good with that, add something else. Do something else. So you're always pushing the envelope a little bit. You're always challenging her a little bit. The key is to not do something that's too extreme and too far away from what she can handle. So just add something at a time, a little thing at a time. Like in the beginning, there's no way she could, stay back here. If I was back here, there's no way she could stay down. So I worked my way around her like this, gradually. Gave her rewards. Good. And over the days and weeks that passed, go a little bit farther every day, and pretty soon she can handle it. So that's just an example of how to work through something that triggers her to pop up that she's not used to yet. And so the way that you release her is she waits till you come back next to her, and then you pat your leg and you say, okay, you lead her off and say sit, and then she's still in training mode until you tap her chest and say go, and now she's free. Make sure you always pick up this mat or take her away somewhere, because she's going to want to hang out on the mat, whatever the mat is that you're using for the training mat. This is a very exclusive spot that she can only go on with your permission and come off of with your permission. So make sure that you do it exactly the way we do it. She has to wait for your permission to go on. She has to wait for your permission to go off. And there's no way she can sleep on it, hang out on it, run across it because you pick it up right away. And it actually makes for a much more solid downstay over time, because she only associates one behavior with that mat, and therefore she'll learn it faster at a deeper level. Okay, let's go. Sit. We always have her wait at doorways, and the front door is a really important doorway. So I always have her sit, step in first to make sure that she's really waiting. You never call her to you. Make sure that she always waits until you come back to get her. Okay, she walks in with you without pulling. If she does pull, just tap slap her. She's very sensitive. We have a couple of dogs in here barking, which helps us practice with her more. I'm going to close this door for a second. Have her sit, because we're going to come out. It's harder for the dog to stay in a sit stay as you open the door, so we always have her sit and wait before we open the door. Nope. And you probably can barely see her, so I'm going to walk her closer. Okay. Sit closer to the threshold so you can see her. See how she waits, even with a dog barking at her in there. She waits till you come back and get her. Okay, she comes in. Do your little circle there so you can close the door. Have her sit. And then if you're going to release her to be free, go like that. But if you're going to the gate or something, she stays on the clock, like we're about to go through the gate, and then you do the boundary training at the gates as well. Okay, so we had one gate sit before the big gate, which we had her sit, wait, and then she was sitting, I opened this gate, she's waiting, I step out first. Make sure you're always accentuating the fact that this is your boundary by stepping out first. She waits in a sit stay until you come back next to her. The lesson is she only goes through a boundary, across a curb, through a doorway, or any kind of boundary with you, unless you're sending her to go in her crate. That's the only place you would send her into, or boundary you'd send her through. And then she waits till I come back next to her. Okay. She walks out with me. I do a little left circle. Have your body do all the work. If you keep turning left, any pulling you might have or anything like that gets less and less, because she's just so used to your body just staying next to you because you're turning left, and the leash stays loose, as you can see. Here we have a curb. Okay. She's afraid of boundaries. And I think you saw that at your house. She was afraid to go through certain rooms for whatever reason. And so you lead her up to a boundary very often. She's nervous. So we led her up to the curb boundary, had her sit. We're just going to do a basic sit stay. And I haven't started the walk yet, because I want to do a little training session, little mini training session before we start our walk on free time. Good, and you can give her a reward if you want for a while, because it's harder for her to stay in a sit stay out in public because she's so scared of everything. So I'm still giving her a treat for sitting and waiting out here in public. Okay, so okay, it's okay, let's go. See how she's afraid? Probably afraid to cross the water here, there in the gutter. But the training starts on the inside of your front door. We'll keep filming as he passes by. The inside of the front door, when you hook the leash on and you go through the front door, if you have a gate, if you're going out the side gate or something, you do the gate boundary, you do the boundary at the curb. And then here, I'm crossing the street, sit, and I cross the street in training mode where she doesn't pull me. I make sure she's walking right next to me. On the other side, I have her sit, and over here, go. This is where I release her. And if you do that, you'll find that your walks become calmer and calmer, and she's gaining more confidence out here now, because you start the walk in there where she has to focus just to get out here. She's focusing and thinking. She's paying attention to you. She's working for you. And it's so much better than starting the walk with her getting excited. She sees the leash, or she grabs it and brings it to you, and it's so cute, and she's excited, and she pulls you out the front door and down the driveway. That's just the wrong way for this dog to start that walk, because the first thing she sees will scare her, and she's going to be so excited she'll just get overstimulated and scared, and that would probably get worse. So always start the walk in a very structured way where she has to think and focus, and she can't freak out because she's busy working for you that way. So it would take you all of like 2 or 3 minutes. Just always start the walk that way, and then release her, and you have much more of something like this. It also helps with any pulling you may or may not have had with her on a walk. But now we're gonna go and see if we can get her close to the city street where she was scared before. And as you can see, on free time, she's not pulling me. And if she ever starts to pull you, just make sure that you are never holding the leash with continuous tension, because this kind of stuff or that, or dragging her around or anything like that on a tight leash causes stress and overstimulation in a dog. So, okay. So let's say that she was pulling. It's a tap and release. And you can always use your recall and say, come, or something like that. Let's see if she'll chase this treat. Go. So if she's pulling you, come. Just call her back to you. Good. Instead of restraining her, pulling her back to you or something like that, just use the training. And she's gotten very used to never having a tight leash here. And if I do have to use a leash, it's just like I said, it's a tap and release, and it's a backing away. When you back away, she can't help herself. She's going to come your way. So, good girl. So it's really all about doing way less with the leash, not pulling her around, not muscling her, but just a little bit of a leash handling etiquette 101, tap and release, body language. You're either backing away like I just showed you, or you're stepping into her. Sit. And putting her into training mode by doing a sit. Maybe that's all you do on a walk. And then you go, release her again. And you do that 3, 4, 5 times in the beginning of the walk, and you'll see, oh, she wants that treat. It's okay, you can have that treat. Yeah, there you go. And you'll see that you just do these simple things, and every day your walks get calmer and calmer for longer and longer periods of time. Okay. Here we are at a place where she was really scared, and I think your first lesson that you had when you came here, we came here and she was too scared to be able to do anything out there. And so I want to show you how to work up to go into a place where she might be nervous, and how to actually get there instead of dragging her there or just being on free time. See, she won't stop looking at me, so I can call her to come. But instead of taking her somewhere without her being in training mode, and all of a sudden she's there and her freaking out, which is what would happen, you want to do the training leading up to where you're going. So in this case, I'm going to do these left-hand circle. So you're just walking up, doing a little left-hand circle, sit, eye contact, good. And sometimes she does kind of swing out, so I'm going to use this wall. Okay, moving closer, left circle, all the way, and then sit. Good, because I want her to be sitting straight. We want her, when she sits, we want her to be sitting in the direction we're facing. It's a little thing, but it is important. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to that scary corner. Left-hand circle, sit, good, and her mind is on working and earning this little treat right now. Okay. Just a couple more here. Sit, good, and okay, one more, and we'll practice a downstay. Down. Good. So in that case, I lured her down. You see how I did it? I said the command at the very moment I lured her down. I didn't wait for her to ignore my command and then try to lure her down or force her down. So with this, and the downstay is really good with her now. And you can see how she's now been fairly desensitized, good, to being at this corner. And her back is to most of the distractions as well, which is harder for her. And I'll show you the other way. She's waiting to be released. Okay, sit. Okay, we're going to do a little circle, and I'll show you the other way to do a D-O-W-N. So left circle, down. And her down is pretty good, but if you have to, your left foot, just do that at the same moment you say it. The wrong way to do it is to say a command, whether it's sit or down. If for some reason she starts backsliding after she's back home with you, and she ignores you, and then you force her with a leash, or step on the leash and have to force her down, that you'll just get stuck in that pattern forever. You'll say it, she'll ignore you, you have to force her down. So you don't want to do that. It's always, okay, down. Good. See how I didn't have to do anything? Good. That's because from day one we were doing this. Down. And all she knew is she heard it once, she heard it, and she ended up there, and so she started doing it in a few weeks without any help at all. So make sure you're not falling into that old situation where you're forcing her to sit with pulling on the leash, or down by forcing her down on the leash. And so you can see she's doing a lot better, and now that she's coming back to you, you want to find other places that she's a little bit afraid of, not a lot, but a little, and getting her used to being able to do sit stays and down stays in those spots. Good. You see how I'm rewarding her exactly in the way that we reward her on the mat. And that was good, because a bust like that used to completely figure out, or something like that. Good. Also, when you start having great successes like this, always end on a success. Like, I wouldn't want to stay longer because there's a chance she'd lose her focus in a minute or two and pop up because somebody honks their horn right there or something like that. So always try to end on a success. That means doing less time. It's okay, and then you just build on that over time. Okay, so she did really well here. Sit, go, she's released, and we'll finish our walk. Good, so always have her sit in front of the crate before you release her into the crate. So she's sitting and waiting, go, you send her in. She turns around, she gets a reward for that. Gonna take off her little training collars and show you how we do this every day. And she loves her crate. She loves to hole up in there and isolate. She's all about the crate. So controlling her access in and out of the crate is a good way to teach her, give her a little bit more structure in her life, and teach her how to sit at this boundary, which is a very important boundary for her. That's since she associates the crate with her den. We feed her in there. We give her treats every time she goes in. Every time I go to take her out, I give her a treat, hook her up, bring her out. So it's a whole little training routine. If we're going to take her, oh, by the way, she sleeps in there overnight at our place. And throughout the day, she's out constantly, in and out, and it's the same routine every time. So it really helps with her sit stay and her release command and all of that as well. So if you're going to take her out, and you're going to take her out on the street, so I'll just show you the whole system, like we're going to take her out in public. You may not be doing that, so you don't have to use this, but I'll just use it this time. I hook it up to the leash. It's the choke chain that is only for safety, by the way. This is not for training. It would really mess up her throat if you use it for training. There's no safety on it, and it would just like choke her. So we only have this as a safety collar in case the little training collar comes off, then you don't lose her, and this takes over, and it's just for safety, not for training. So the way I start is just giving her a little reward, slipping that over her head while she's munching on that, and that's already attached to the leash. Then we have this tiny little prong collar, which you'll see throughout the videos how I'm using this with her, and she really needs to wait. And so you can reward her inside, make sure she's not sticking her head out. And just put this on. This collar is the highest collar up, so it's the one right under her ears. It's above the other collars. And I'm just attaching that to the leash as well. So now the leash is attached to the prong collar and the choke chain. And we're going to do this little exercise that we do where I stand up with the leash on, the door's open. She stays in there, she gets a reward. Good. If she tries to come out, I would have just said no and done that, and she would have stopped. So you can even, nope, stand back, extend your arm, that's like 8 feet back. She waits. Good, she gets a reward. It's a good little thing to do. Just another way to do boundary training, which is always helpful. She's waiting for you to pat your leg and say, okay, She's going to come out. Make sure you always close this door so that she has to wait for your permission to go back in. If it's open, she could just run in and out, and then you'd kind of squander your power of being able to control that boundary. So this is just one of the many ways that you would continue to have a healthy, or she would perceive you in a healthy way by practicing this crate routine, because if she needs your permission to go in and out of her den, then you must be in charge. So you want to practice it this way, and it really helps everything else over time, as well as, of course, practicing other boundaries in your household too. Okay.